The stars stretched across the galaxy in endless swaths of light, distant suns twinkling like shards of glass scattered across a black velvet canvas. Ships moved through the void, carrying goods, soldiers, and knowledge between the countless worlds of the Galactic Union. Among them, the humans were considered fragile and unreliable. Their ships were slow, their biology unpredictable, and their emotions often described as chaotic. No one expected them to be anything more than a distraction in a crisis. Yet here, at the edge of a dying system, humanity was about to prove that appearances were deceiving. The planet Narshal had been struck by a disease that no alien medicine could cure. Neural rot, the Council called it, a relentless infection that ate away at the mind and body simultaneously. Whole cities were abandoned as citizens fell into a coma-like state. Even the best alien healers could do little more than slow the decay. The disease was fast, and hope was running out. The Galaxian Medical Council had gathered their brightest minds in the floating city of Orlax, a hub of learning and technology. The council was tense, their spindly limbs clinking against consoles and walls as they argued over the final options. "We've tried the neuroregeneration lattices," said Xylan, a tall, insected doctor with shimmering exoskeleton plates. "They slow the disease, but they do not cure it. It is unlike anything we have encountered." The speaker, a reptilian surgeon with emerald scales, slammed a clawed hand on the table. "If we do not find a cure, Narshal's population will be wiped out entirely, and if it spreads beyond, other systems will follow." Ships left the planet empty, carrying only corpses and despair. It was then that a small, unarmed human ship appeared on the scanners. Its hull was scratched, its engines far less advanced than the Council's own vessels, but it carried a crew of humans who had volunteered for a mission no one else dared attempt. The Council's initial response was disbelief. "Humans?" Xylan's compound eyes narrowed. "What could they possibly offer that we have not already tried?" On board, Dr. Elias Rin, the lead human doctor, prepared quietly. He did not argue, did not boast. He only checked his equipment and the small containers of biological fluid he had spent years refining. To most, it looked like a simple milky substance, nothing more than human milk enhanced with synthetic molecules. But Dr. Rin knew its power. Within that fluid were immune compounds engineered to adapt instantly to disease. Where alien medicine attacked pathogens externally, the human fluid taught the body itself to fight, to regenerate, to adapt. The alien staff watched in silence as he entered the first containment chamber. The patients were already suffering. Their eyes were glassy, their movements slow, their bodies racked with spasms. Even the most advanced stimulators had done little to ease their pain. Dr. Rin knelt by one of the larger tanks, holding the container with gentle care. "If you want healing," he said softly, almost to himself, "just close your eyes. You'll see." Their eyes, once vacant and lifeless, began to focus. Muscles regained tension, nerves reactivated, and a warmth spread through their bodies. Aliens gasped. The lattice of human-derived nanites was working, adapting to each individual's unique physiology, rewriting the disease's progression from within. I don't understand," whispered one of the alien healers. "This is impossible. Their bodies should be incompatible. Our formulas should fail." Rin moved from chamber to chamber, repeating the process, his hands steady and calm. The more patients healed, the more the Council's perception of humanity began to shift. Not everyone was pleased. Some factions saw the humans' success as a threat. If a simple human biological compound could outperform their most advanced technology, what else might humanity be capable of? Plans began forming in secret councils, whispers of control, of acquisition, of domination. But Dr. Rin ignored it. His mission was simple: heal. He did not seek glory, did not seek power. The lives of the infected mattered more than political maneuvering or fear of human potential. In the quarantine zones, aliens who had once scorned humans now watched in awe. A young Trelian child, barely conscious and on the brink of death, slowly opened her eyes. She looked around, confused but alive. The nurse who attended her whispered almost reverently, "It's working. Humans saved her." If humans can heal what we cannot, they may claim influence over the Union. On worlds where the disease had seemed invincible, humans restored hope. They moved with patience and precision, respecting each patient, each species' biology, and each life. Dr. Rin worked tirelessly. Days blurred into nights as he monitored, adjusted, and administered his treatment. He taught alien doctors to observe the patient's own immune responses, to understand the subtle dance between pathogen and host. Even the most advanced alien healers began to learn from him, absorbing human methods they had once dismissed. And yet, as the successes grew, so did the danger. Word of the cure spread faster than the disease itself. Pirates, political opportunists, and rival factions began to maneuver, seeing the human formula not as a gift, but as a weapon. The very people whose lives had been saved now became pawns in a larger game. But inside the quarantine zones, none of that mattered. There was only life returning where there had been death. Limbs regained strength, minds cleared, and the sound of laughter began to replace the silence of suffering. The human doctor moved quietly through it all, a calm presence in the storm of chaos. One day, as he checked a particularly delicate patient, a Trelian elder whose neural decay had been advanced, he felt a shift. The fluid, combined with the patient's own immune response, had begun to stabilize, repairing neural connections that alien technology had failed to touch. The elder opened her eyes, and with a weak but determined voice she said, I feel alive again. That is all that matters. Some spoke openly of studying the humans to replicate their methods. Others whispered of containment, of secrecy, of using humanity as a tool. Dr. Rin remained unaware, or perhaps unconcerned, about these plots. He focused only on the work before him: life, healing, adaptation. Every patient saved was a victory, every laugh and cry of relief a testament to human ingenuity. By the time the sun set over Narshal, entire hospitals that had been abandoned were once again filled with life. Alien doctors who had doubted the humans' abilities now sought guidance, notebooks in tentacles or claws, recording every step, every detail. Even those who feared the humans could not help but acknowledge their skill. Dr. Rin stood quietly on the observation balcony, looking down at the bustling medical zones. The stars above shone like witnesses to the miracle. Humans, once considered insignificant, had arrived not with force, but with understanding and resilience. Somewhere deep in the council chambers, Xylan muttered, "Perhaps we underestimated them too long." And in the quiet of the observation deck, Dr. Rin whispered almost to himself, "If you want healing, just close your eyes." Alien patients moved through the corridors with renewed strength, their neural rot reversed by the human doctor's extraordinary treatment. Yet, outside the controlled zones, the galaxy was stirring. Word of human success spread like wildfire across star systems. For the first time, many species began to question what they thought they knew about humanity. In the floating city of Aurillax, the council convened in emergency. Xylan paced, his long, spindly legs clicking against the metallic floor. "They are changing the balance of power," he hissed. "A species we dismissed as weak is now performing feats we cannot replicate. We must act. Their methods do not follow our science. We cannot simply replicate them." Ambitious factions within the council discussed harnessing the human cure, using it to control entire systems. Some argued it should be regulated, given only to allies willing to pledge loyalty. Others whispered of capturing the human doctor and forcing him to hand over the formula. Dr. Elias Rin remained oblivious to the political scheming. His focus was singular: heal as many lives as possible. Every day he moved from chamber to chamber, placing a small amount of the fluid into patient systems and monitoring their reactions. The infusion worked differently for each species, adjusting itself to their biology, yet the results were always the same. Life returned. One morning, a young alien lieutenant named Varin approached him, her 6 arms folded nervously. "Doctor," she said, her voice trembling, I don't understand. How does your method work? We've tried every technology, every medicine. Why does this simple fluid succeed?" "The fluid I carry is an extension of that resilience, teaching the body to fight, to learn, to heal itself. Nothing else can do that the way we can. But underestimation can also lead to catastrophe if ignored for too long." A species that had once been dismissed as fragile was now teaching the galaxy a lesson in survival. But not everyone saw it that way. In the shadows of Aurillax, factions with political ambitions began plotting. Some wanted to seize the human fluid by force. Others hoped to kidnap Dr. Rin and replicate the process under their control. News of these plans reached human ears through intercepted communications, though the humans did not panic. They had learned to anticipate threats and adapt quickly. Dr. Rin convened a small meeting with his human team. "They will try to control us," he said simply, his voice calm. Some see power where we see healing. We must protect both the lives here and the integrity of the cure. Meanwhile, on Narshal, a sudden outbreak of the disease erupted in a previously unaffected city. Panic swept through the alien population. The Council demanded immediate intervention, but their advanced technology alone could not contain it. They turned, reluctantly, to the humans. Dr. Rin assessed the situation with his usual calm. He quickly organized a small strike team composed of human medics and willing alien volunteers. They entered the infected zones with minimal equipment, relying on their knowledge of biology, adaptation, and rapid response. The scene was devastating. Buildings were abandoned, and the air smelled faintly of decay. Patients were in critical condition, their nervous systems failing, eyes glassy with fear. Alien medical robots operated in a mechanical way, attempting to stabilize patients but making slow progress. Dr. Rin knelt beside a young Trelian child, her limbs twitching violently. He placed a small amount of the fluid in her system and whispered, "Close your eyes. Trust your body." The child did as instructed. Within minutes, her spasms slowed, her eyes focused, and color returned to her skin. Other humans repeated the process across the city. Each patient responded differently, yet all recovered faster than any alien technology could manage. Word of the human team's efficiency spread quickly. Even hostile observers could not deny the results. In the aftermath of the crisis, alien medical officers approached Dr. Rin cautiously. "Your methods are remarkable," one said, his voice tinged with awe. "How can we replicate such success?" "It is understanding, persistence, and the courage to act even when all odds are against you." Yet as the humans gained admiration, tension mounted. Some council members grew increasingly impatient with the humans' insistence on autonomy. They demanded full disclosure of the fluid's formula. They threatened to seize the humans' ship if they did not comply. Dr. Rin's response was calm but firm. "This is not a commodity nor a weapon. It is a gift to those who need it. It cannot be used to control others. Take it for that purpose, and it loses its value entirely." Then came a test the humans had not anticipated. A fleet of mercenary ships, hired by a rogue faction, entered orbit around Narshal, demanding the human cure and threatening to destroy the hospitals if their demands were not met. Alarm spread through the quarantine zones, but Dr. Rin remained composed. He gathered his team. "They cannot stop what is already in motion. We have given hope to thousands. Our strength is not in weapons, but in the lives we save. We will continue." The rogue faction's threats became meaningless in the face of a population already revitalized by human ingenuity. As weeks passed, Narshal transformed. Abandoned cities filled with life again. Streets once empty echoed with laughter and chatter. Alien doctors who had doubted humanity now sought guidance, learning not only the technical details of the treatment, but also the philosophy behind it: resilience, adaptation, and empathy. Dr. Rin observed quietly. He knew the true lesson was not the fluid itself, but what it represented. Humans thrived not because of technology alone, but because they could turn vulnerability into strength. Where others saw weakness, humans saw opportunity. Where others panicked, humans acted with calm precision. Some aliens began to emulate human methods beyond medicine. Entire educational programs were developed to teach observation, adaptability, and rapid response to crises. The phrase, "if you want healing, just close your eyes," became a quiet mantra not just in hospitals, but across sectors seeking inspiration from human example. Meanwhile, political maneuvering continued. Some factions tried to claim the humans' success as their own. Others plotted more drastic measures, hoping to control or weaponize the human approach. Yet each attempt failed because humans had built trust with the very populations they helped. The more aliens witnessed human capability and generosity, the harder it became to manipulate them. Dr. Rin's quiet confidence inspired not only the patients, but the very structure of governance around him. Councils realized that humans were not just a resource, they were a model. A reminder that power in the galaxy was not measured solely by technology, fleets, or force, but by the ability to save and protect life, even when it seemed impossible. One evening, as the twin suns of Narshal set behind distant mountains, Dr. Rin stood at the edge of a recovered city. Children played in the streets. Adults shared stories of survival. Alien nurses and doctors laughed together with patients. A sense of peace had returned, fragile but growing. A young alien girl approached him, holding a small container of water. "Thank you," she said simply. You made my world better. The galaxy had watched humanity at work, and the perception of the species had shifted forever. They were no longer seen as fragile. They were seen as resilient, clever, and profoundly capable. The ripples of their actions extended far beyond Narshal, inspiring other species to rethink their assumptions and reconsider the value of life over fear. The human team worked quietly, continuing their mission of healing. They understood that admiration was fleeting, that fear would always exist. What mattered was action, dedication, and the unwavering belief that even the smallest species could change the course of the galaxy. And so, the stage was set for what was to come. The humans had shown their power not through dominance or destruction, but through their unique ability to adapt, to heal, and to inspire. Their presence on Narshal had already begun to reshape the future, and the galaxy would soon see that humanity's influence was only beginning to unfold. Even as political factions schemed and mercenary fleets hovered at the edges of space, the humans remained focused on what they did best, saving lives. Their strength was quiet, subtle, and almost invisible, but it was undeniable. The lesson the galaxy was learning slowly but surely was clear: underestimate humans at your own peril. For where others saw fragility, humans revealed resilience. Where others saw failure, humans revealed ingenuity. And where others saw death, humans revealed hope. Dr. Rin watched the stars that night, thinking of the patients who would wake tomorrow, the cities that would thrive, and the lives that would continue because humans dared to believe that healing was more powerful than fear. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. It would not do so again. The recovery of Narshal had become the talk of the galaxy. Across systems, stories of human resilience and the miracle of Dr. Elias Rin's treatments spread like starlight. Yet, as admiration grew, so too did envy and fear. Some factions in the Galactic Council had never accepted that a species they considered weak could wield such influence without lifting a weapon. Whispers turned into open threats. Mercenary fleets gathered in nearby systems, demanding the humans surrender their formula. Some council members argued for intervention, claiming that human independence could destabilize the balance of power across the galaxy. Others pleaded for patience, urging the council to observe that the humans' actions caused no harm, only life. Dr. Rin, aboard his ship, prepared for the storm. He had anticipated this escalation. Humans had learned survival not through power, but through understanding and adaptability. Each challenge, each threat had been a lesson in patience and strategy. Now they would need every ounce of it. The humans' first priority remained the patients. Within Narshal, the last zones of infection were being healed. Alien doctors who had once doubted humanity now worked alongside the humans, learning the subtle techniques that allowed life to reclaim itself. Hospitals that had been abandoned and decaying were now vibrant centers of hope. Patients walked, laughed, and spoke again. Even those who had been close to death were now showing strength and vitality. Outside, the skies were no longer silent. Mercenary ships patrolled the orbit of Narshal, their weapons visible and threatening. The council, divided between fear and admiration, demanded that Dr. Rin hand over the formula or face consequences. He listened quietly to their demands. Then he spoke simply. "This formula does not belong to me. It belongs to life itself. If you wish to save lives, you may observe, you may learn. If you wish to control it, it will no longer work as intended. Healing is not a weapon. You cannot turn it into one." Rin and his team deployed a series of measures, not of destruction, but of strategy. They moved quickly between Narshal's key medical zones, ensuring that every patient received the treatment and that every alien healer understood its purpose. Simultaneously, the human ship used stealth and superior maneuverability to evade the mercenary ships. One by one, mercenary captains sent messages demanding compliance. One human officer responded with calm logic. "Look outside. Look at the lives around you. We are not here to fight. You see recovery, you see life. You cannot take it by threat. You can only watch it flourish." While the fleets loomed, the population of Narshal grew stronger, healthier, and more organized. Alien species who had benefited from the treatment began to defend the humans with quiet determination. Some formed a blockade of their own, not to attack, but to protect the ships and hospitals from interference. Inside Narshal, life began to flourish like never before. Streets filled with children playing, markets opened with merchants trading goods, and schools reopened. Alien teachers and healers worked alongside humans, sharing knowledge and learning human methods of observation, patience, and adaptability. Dr. Rin walked through one of the largest hospitals, observing patients and doctors alike. A young Trelian boy ran toward him, his bandages removed, a bright smile on his face. "You saved me," he exclaimed. Dr. Rin smiled softly. "No, you saved yourself. The body knows what to do when it has the chance." It was not the fluid alone that had achieved these miracles. It was the human understanding of resilience, the ability to turn weakness into strength, fear into opportunity. Humanity had survived on a world of constant challenge, and now they were teaching the galaxy to survive in turn. But not all threats could be avoided. One of the mercenary fleets, growing impatient and aggressive, attempted to blockade the main city. They fired warning shots, forcing evacuation protocols. Dr. Rin and his team responded with speed and precision, evacuating patients and medical staff to safe zones before the fleet could cause real harm. In a quiet moment aboard the human ship, Dr. Rin addressed his team. "This is why we work with understanding, not force. We can save lives, but we cannot fight every threat with weapons. Sometimes the best defense is knowledge, patience, and adaptability." It was the lesson that the galaxy had yet to learn fully. Power is not only in destruction, it is in creation, preservation, and ingenuity. The mercenary fleet, unable to achieve compliance, began to withdraw. Some attempted sabotage, but human crews and their alien allies countered with clever maneuvers. No lives were lost, and the hospitals remained intact. Slowly, the galaxy began to see a pattern. Humans could not be controlled, intimidated, or underestimated. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, a debate raged. "They act without greed, without ambition," one delegate said. "Yet their influence spreads faster than any weapon. How do we measure their power?" "That is their strength, and we cannot replicate it." Alien doctors documented human methods, noting the subtle adjustments, the patience, and the understanding that allowed each patient to respond optimally. The phrase, "if you want healing, just close your eyes," became more than words. It became a philosophy. Then came the final test. A previously unknown mutation of the neural rot appeared, more aggressive and fast-moving. It struck a remote settlement before warnings could reach the city. The council expected panic, and many assumed the humans would be overwhelmed. Dr. Rin and his team acted immediately. They dispatched small, rapid-response units equipped with the fluid, moving from patient to patient, assessing, adjusting, and applying the treatment. Unlike previous outbreaks, this one required improvisation. The mutation challenged the adaptability of the human fluid, but humans were used to challenge. They observed carefully, monitored changes, and adjusted the infusion in real time. As days passed, the mutated neural rot was countered. Alien doctors marveled as their most advanced technologies failed while human ingenuity succeeded. Patients regained consciousness, motor functions returned, and the settlement stabilized. By the time the council reviewed the situation, it was undeniable. Humans had not only healed Narshal once, but they had proven that their methods could adapt to threats even alien technology could not handle. Dr. Rin gathered his team in the observation deck, looking over the city as sunset painted the sky in golden hues. "This is what matters," he said softly. "Every life saved, every mind restored, every person given a chance to continue. That is power. That is humanity." They had acted without ambition, without coercion, without the need for control. They had allowed life to flourish, and in doing so, they had shown the galaxy a new form of strength. The mercenary fleets had withdrawn, council factions had calmed, and Narshal was secure. The aliens who had benefited from human medicine were now advocates, spreading the knowledge further, sharing what they had learned with neighboring systems. Dr. Rin understood that humanity's role in the galaxy had changed. They were no longer underestimated. They were respected, even feared, not for destruction, but for the ability to heal, adapt, and inspire. Their strength was quiet, subtle, and profound. In the quiet of the night, as stars stretched endlessly above, Dr. Rin reflected on the journey. The galaxy had doubted humans, dismissed them, and underestimated them at every turn. Yet here they stood, not by conquest or weaponry, but by understanding, patience, and resilience. He walked through the recovered streets, watching children play and adults work together. Alien healers smiled as they applied what they had learned. Communities thrived where despair had once reigned. A young alien girl ran up to him, holding a small flower she had grown in a recovered garden. "Thank you," she said, her eyes shining. "You gave us life." Rin smiled, bending slightly to meet her gaze. "No, you found life within yourselves. We only helped you see it." The Galactic Council could no longer dismiss humans as weak. They had been challenged, tested, and proven that strength was not only in technology or power, but in resilience, ingenuity, and compassion. As the human ship soared into the stars, leaving Narshall behind, Dr. Rin spoke quietly to his team. The galaxy has seen what humans can do. We must continue to act with integrity, patience, and understanding. That is the true way to shape the future. They were no longer the underestimated species at the edge of the galaxy. They were healers, teachers, and quiet champions of life itself. Their strength was subtle, invisible to those who only measured power in weapons and conquest, but undeniable to all who had witnessed it firsthand. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and humanity moved among them, a silent reminder that the greatest power in the galaxy was not destruction, but the courage to give life when it seemed impossible, to guide the weak without taking control, and to prove, time and again, that even the smallest species could change the universe forever. The galaxy had watched, learned, and been transformed. Humans had arrived not as conquerors, but as life-givers. And from that day forward, every system remembered, underestimate humanity at your own peril.